Thousands. And I think, sometimes it's the big race and you catch a crab, you miss water, something happens. I think it even happened at the IRA this year. And I think these young athletes can't beat themselves up. They have to stay confident. They have to know that this happens to even the best oarsmen. And here we go, right into the next week. We're going back to those oars women. And now we have the women's quad.
Yep, the women's U17 quadruple sculls is in race right now. They're in the race. In lane 1, we have Phalen Weston. Lane 2, Capital. Lane 3, Star. Lane 4, Gainesville area. Lane 5, Long Lake Rowing Club. Lane 6, OKC Riversport. And lane 7, Lake Phalen.
And Lake Phalen seems to be making a statement both with that bright colored boat and that bow number 7, and they're trying to take the lead right here in the first 500.
Yeah, this is impressive. We've seen a lot of depth in these races early on. We saw really tight times in the time trials and in some of the semifinals. So right now we are looking at these two boats, Lake Phalen and OKC Riversport, battling it out. But over on the other side we have Capital that is right there with them. They have contact with the boat, and that's where you want to be early in the race. You want to be within striking distance. And then right there in the middle with Long Lake, Gainesville, Star, they are right there as well with contact. Phalen Weston off the pace a little bit, but they can still make something of this. They can still find something to press, and that will determine their course.
Yeah, OKC Riversport and Phalen seem to be taking a push, and it does seem like out there in lane 1, Phalen Weston wants to be part of the conversation. We have athletes that are looking over right now as they establish themselves in that first 750. This can be a big fatigue moment. Every athlete, every team, every coach has their strategy. Some are about let's get dominance early on and hold on. Other ones are we have a sprint. We know we have a sprint as long as we're in contact. And I think that's the fun part about watching these races unfold is that we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on between their ears, but what's crazy is I bet you these athletes know.
Yeah.
They've been eyeballing each other all season. They know who each other are. I think, imagine you and I knew each other so well the way these athletes do between their social medias and following each other. They know what colleges they're going to. So this is personal.
Yeah.
Right? This is personal between these young women, and we see that right now. OK Riversport is saying, it's so personal for us that we are taking charge.
Yeah, and when you see this picture, you can see that OKC is rowing at a bit of a lower rate than Lake Phalen, and they are moving the boat well. So that goes to efficiency. You want to be efficient. You want to be able to move the boat at a comfortable pace. And right now it looks as though OKC Riversport is doing just that. Lake Phalen is up a bit higher. Is that something that they can hold on to? Are they taxing themselves as they come across the 1,000? Those are the type of questions that will determine what happens later in the race.
Now, Akil, you're such a better sculler than I am. I got to row the quad once at Worlds, but you rowed the single, you rowed the double, you rowed the quad. What do you think between the 3 events is the most important for these athletes in this quad to keep the lead?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's really technical, and it really requires the team to gel and row together. You have different sizes in the boat. Have they done the right rigging to make sure people are matching up? Have they been together long enough to know and trust each other that they can call on each other, as you referred to earlier, when there is a moment that they're being tested? And so to me, part of the most important thing is staying relaxed. And you can see it here. When they're up at the catch, their shoulders are relaxed. They're not taking the catch with their shoulders, They're keeping that connection and accelerating with their legs.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the quad especially, it's such a leg-driven sport, especially from and the back end, but we can't forget that the back end is where you release the boat. And this OKC boat is doing exactly that. They're very horizontal. They seem to be opening their hips together, and they seem to be creating this efficiency with this lead. Some athletes, when they get ahead like this, it kind of causes tension where they don't want to let go of it. But this OKC team seems to be really flowing through and enjoying this lead that they have over the rest of the field right now.
Yeah, and if we look over on the other side, we'll see Capital is looks like they are trying to, stay up in there in that race. We'll see. We'll get a better look here. Yeah, it looks as though Lake Phalen and Capital are in that second place, but it also looks as though we have that Gainesville that is right there as well, and Long Lake as well. And the question right now is that there is some separation right now with OKC Riversport, because OKC Riversport just passed the 500. It looks as though now we have Capital over in lane 2, followed by Lake Phalen, followed by Long Lake.
Yeah,
so
Long Lake's coming in. They're starting to make a move.
Yeah, and so the question is, will this move count? Will it be the one that helps accelerate them? And as Long Lake decides to make that move, now others boats are going to have to make a move.
Yeah, and it seems like even that, Gainesville is not coming out of it. Star's trying to push. Capital wants to get back into that lead. But it does seem like OKC River Sport really is pushing here. And in fact, it looks like even from this position, they have open water. They have an easy lead, but they are pushing. Those young women are deciding to really make a statement here. They are looking like they're trying to open this up and decide that, hey, we may be in the C final, but we think we're better than that. And that's one of the things I love about these opportunities for these athletes is that they approach this with like, I may not be in the final that I want, but I'm going to show you that I'm as fast as you.
Yeah, and that's part of something that's been the theme of the day. It's like, okay, what is the time of the B finals? Like that's always something you do. What is my time in this final compared to the other finals? And you say, oh yeah, I should have been there. And that gives you the hunger sometimes and the desire to keep going. And so right now we'll see that Capital crew is trying to put some pressure on, and it looks as though they are moving well, nice and relaxed. It looks as though now OKC River Sport has brought up the rhythm. Now they are in that last 250 meters. We'll see what goes on. Can Lake Phalen do anything to compete with the Capital boat right now? Will they be able to make a move? But it looks as though right next to Capital, that Star boat is trying to go into their final sprint. Here we go. We have OKC River Sport marching along, but that Capital boat is moving. They are not giving up.
Both
Capital is pushing hard. They're coming up. Now we go.
OKC just took another push. Look at that. They just gained another seat. This is their race. They wanted it, but not without a fight from Capital. And here we go. We still have a push now for third place, and there's another race forming forward. But Phalen decided to come back. They had that lead, but again, they did not give up, and they still want to do as well as they can in this final.
And what an amazing race.